Jay. Welcome to the Digital Age Show where marketing meets results. Each week, there's a podcast and which we record with the industry leaders where we sit down with them, share proven strategies that have already driven online success for a lot of businesses
Hello
out there.
everyone.
So
Today we
get
have
ready
with us
to transform your
Angela.
digital
Let's
presence.
ask
I
her
hope you enjoy the
itself like
podcast.
what expertise she has and what she has been doing. She'll be explaining it pretty much well than me. Yeah.
Hi, Jay. Thanks for having me on your podcast. Happy to be here and really excited to have a chat with you today. And yeah, just to share a little bit of information about my background. I
Mhm.
have been in the biotech industry for a number of years and developed a lot of my expertise in the world of science, where I started my career as a scientist and then eventually moved my way into marketing. And today I really focus on delivering marketing strategies that can help businesses future proof the work that they're doing, especially in light of a lot of market volatility. So I'm very passionate about marketing and really excited to talk to you a lot more about it.
Have you always been working in the marketing industry or uh, like have you pivoted for the last couple of years into marketing?
So I've been in marketing for almost a decade at this point. So I've spent a lot of my career in marketing, but
Mhm.
before that, no, I started in very science heavy roles. So I started my career in research and development, in fact, and I worked as a lab technician for a few years and as a molecular biologist. And I did that for a while. Eventually, I worked my way up to becoming a lab manager, and it was around that time that I finished my MBA and decided that I wanted to pivot into marketing. And ever since then, I really haven't looked back. I still love serving the industry. I truly believe that scientists make the world a better place, which is why I'm really passionate about what I do, because I see myself as really being able to bridge the need with scientists needing to be able to communicate better and help them get in touch with the customers that they're seeking with the tools that they're using to change the world.
Awesome. So, as you said, you have been in biotech labs, and from that you have came a long way towards marketing strategies and strategizing for businesses, I guess. So, like, what moment you realized that what we can say traditional marketing is broken, or rather, we should say like the new age marketing will go miles apart from the traditional marketing. So, was there any moment that you wanted to go into the marketing that is going on currently, or was it always in the back of your mind that you have to join this industry?
Yeah, oddly, a little bit of both, to be entirely honest. It was one of those things that I'd always really loved writing and telling stories and reading books. And so I've always really been passionate about stories. So that's something that's always been kind of in the back of my mind, that I thought I would love to do something that was story oriented, and at least in some respects. But there was kind of this aha moment for me, you might say. And that was when I was working in the industry as a lab manager. And this has been a while back, but at the time I was working for Bayer Crop Science. And there'd been a lot of, and there still is to some degree, a lot of discussions in the industry about some controversial topics. GMOs were one of those key ones, particularly when Bayer decided to buy Monsanto. Monsanto had always been very well known as this kind of villain in the GMO world. And what I
Mhm.
saw there was really just a large failure to communicate. A lot of people made the assumption that, well, I don't understand it. They're not sharing about it. They're trying to be really secretive about it. And that's true. They were largely because of IP needs, but there is truth to that story, and that's that they were not able to communicate that and share as openly as they needed to. So that for me was a big defining moment in my career, because I saw this company, in a sense, really descend into chaos over this controversy. And honestly, this was a very avoidable issue. If they'd been openly communicating, sharing their story, and engaging others for feedback as well, I could see things potentially going a very different direction than they went. So this is where I saw myself being able to fill in a need. I understand and love the world of science, but I'm also a great communicator. I love to connect with others. So this is where I really made that pivot, was when I had that realization that, this is something that I can do here in this space.
Great. So, as we know that the new age marketers, marketing currently is heavily dependent on what we can say, Chat GPT and AI tools, as for the last 1 or 2 years, I'll say. So, if let's consider a scenario, if Chat GPT or AI in general is gonna fail or is gonna disappear tomorrow, so what do you think the impact would be on specifically marketers uh, who are working at a scale, like marketers like you who are working with Fortune 500 companies? So does it matter that much right now? Is the dependency too much on AI?
That is a great question. There is a lot of discussion about AI. Yes, AI has been booming in recent years. There are new tools on the market. I'm learning about new tools on almost a daily basis. It's amazing.
Mhm.
I personally am of the opinion that AI is here. AI is here to stay. And I think those of us that are going to be able to up level our marketing strategies are going to learn new and better ways to incorporate these tools that helps make our jobs easier, and it makes it more effective, and we're able to reach more people, right? So I openly embrace AI tools, and as does my co-founder, Travis. We are very much avid proponents when it comes to AI. We look at AI as something that can really help make the world better. It can help us reach more people. It can help us refine our marketing strategies and be really, really intentional. Now, I know there is a lot of controversy about AI, and I've seen people take a stand either on the extreme of, no, I will not use it. Our business is not going to use it. It's not for us. That's fine. I respect that. I understand that. I know that there are still concerns with AI being developed and being figured out. Is it a good fit? And maybe it isn't a good fit for everyone, but in the world of technology, especially for biotech and AgTech, I think it's really such a necessity. So it is one of those things that I think we are going to have to continue embracing and learning how to use. I really truly believe that those of us that learn how to effectively use those tools are going to learn how to stand out from the rest of the crowd. Honestly, I think that a lot of the tools that are coming out now really present a unique opportunity for us to stand out from the competition. It's those of us that are able to innovate and adapt to it and use it to its potential. That's what's going to help us stand out.
Great. So you are working currently in biotech and agtech industry. So are there any brands that are killing it in marketing or marketing wise, that are just like totally, like you want other brands to look after them and learn from them their marketing strategies? Is there anything specific, or if you would want to share something that these industries should learn from, even though any other industry as well? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing I will share is that if you are really, so brands that are using AI, those that are using it really effectively are the ones that are able to use it and just adapt it into the work that they're doing. And in a lot of
Mhm.
ways, honestly, it's not even noticeable. And I think that is the best approach. So that said, if you try to follow a brand that's using AI effectively, you might struggle to even notice where exactly they're using it because it's so ingrained and their strategy. So I think that would be difficult to do. But what I will say is there are some really, really great tools on the market right now. There are some new ones coming out all the time, but a few of our favorites anyways. ChatGPT is, yes, one of the first ones that comes to mind when it comes to AI tools, but there's others
Right.
like Claude for content creation and communication assistance. There's also Dolly and Midjourney for image generation. There's Make.com for automating repetitive workflows. Tableau and Power BI and Looker are great for data visualization. HubSpot is also really helpful for making marketing automations. And then Google Gemini is one of my personal favorites for content creation and idea generation. Google has a great platform where they already have so much content available at their disposal. So when it comes to idea generation, Gemini really is great in that respect. And there are others too. Like I said, I'm learning about new tools on the market on an almost daily basis. So I pay very close attention to what is coming out and could provide even more value.
Great. So, like, you have been in the industry for long. So, when you started, some of the platforms like TikTok, or I would also say Instagram, Reels as per se, so they were not even there in the market when you started your marketing
True.
journey, right?
Yep.
So, like, if given a choice, if you had to choose between 1 million TikTok followers, or let's say 10,000 email subscribers to a specific newsletter, I'll say, so what would be your pick, and if you can explain why?
Absolutely. So, great question. I love this question because it makes you think. So, first things first, before I tell you what my decision is, it is really, really important to show up where your audience is going to be, whether it's TikTok, whether it's email, Instagram, something else. It is first and foremost to focus on that audience and where you're going to be able
Right.
to get the most value. So that I will say that is a caveat with what I'm going to say. Based on the work that I have done, social media is fantastic. It is also one of those things that it can be your best friend one day, and the next day it can be your worst enemy. It changes so quickly. And when it comes to social media, TikTok, Instagram, all of them, when it comes to followers, you don't ever really own that. And I have heard so many stories of people ending up in Instagram jail or Facebook jail. And the truth is if you get in that situation, you lose all of that access. So that is a very big risk to a business. Now, what I will then say, and I think this is leading to my answer, when it comes to email subscribers, you have a lot more ownership and influence over that. So that said, I would absolutely pick the email subscribers because while yes, a lot of followers on a platform like TikTok are definitely valuable, you have a lot less ownership over that, a lot less influence, and you can end up in TikTok jail or wherever else, and then you don't have that
Right.
control to interact with those contacts. So absolutely, I would choose the email subscribers, especially highly engaged email subscribers, every day over having that that TikTok follower count. Now that said, again, I mentioned that it is so important to make sure that you are showing up where your audience is at. Maybe email is just not doing it for your business for whatever reason. I'd say your business is probably exceptional if that's the case, but yeah, just you got to show up there first where your audience is.
Great answer, great perspective you have had there. So we have a lot of audience that is in their early 20s, and they are trying to figure out what business they're gonna get in, or where they're gonna go for a job. So which industry they're gonna go. So most of them, if let's consider there's a person in his mid 20s and wants to start an agency, wants to start an marketing agency just like you have, in any specific niche, in any specific industry. So what would be your one piece of advice specifically to getting leads, or I would rather say getting clients, getting the initial clients, which are very important for like sustaining the business. So what would be your suggestion for them?
Yeah, so my suggestion, first of all, is to focus on if you have any even small experience in another industry where you are really passionate about it or that you know about it, I would focus on that first. And that is something that I would admit about myself. The reason why I've stayed in my industry is because I love this world. If I wasn't passionate about it, though, I probably would have gotten out a long time ago. The world of biotech, especially, is changing so quickly. And really, you have to be so quick on your feet to adapt and be able to learn and try new things. It's definitely not a space for everyone. I love it. So I'd say that first, pick something that is of interest to you. Secondly, I'm going to rave about the world of tech because, yes, it can be really volatile. And yes, it is changing rapidly. But if you're one of those people that is ambitious, really focused on learning, this is a good space for you. There is a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of growth. There's a lot of change. So if you can adapt quickly, it is very exciting. You will not be bored. I can promise that. I know it can be a hard space to get into. It can be a hard space to stay in, but there's so much going on in this space. But I would first and foremost lean into what is interesting to you. Where do you think you can provide unique value? What kind of unique perspective can you provide? So I know that often, and I do this too, we like to start with, well, what would I like to do? Try to flip the script and think about, where can I deliver unique value? What am I uniquely
Mhm.
suited to do? Where do I have this unique perspective that might add value? And that's where I found myself in this world between biotech and marketing and communications, right? I found this nice blend of two worlds. Maybe you, the audience, has something like that where you just uniquely stand out and can provide unique value. And I have taken that insight and perspective and applied it to my career and never regretted it. So just find something that's unique about you where you can deliver on that value.
Great. So we all know that currently we are in an age of information overload. So whichever platform we are using, there's a lot of information going around. There are videos. There's endless scroll going on. So how do a business person, a business owner, get the or like the basically the market or the decision maker, a business as in whole, get the attention that they deserve in a crowded marketplace?
Yeah, great question. It is harder and harder these days, right, to get the attention that you're seeking. So uh, there are a few things that you can do to make sure that you're getting the attention that you're seeking in the crowded marketplace. And the first thing is to start with where your audience is at. And we had talked about that briefly already. Are they on TikTok? Are they
Hmm.
on
Yeah.
Instagram? Are you able to reach them better on email? Is it in person in a trade show? Go to where your audience is first and have conversations with a few of those people and start to get to understand them and their challenges. What are their unique challenges in the marketplace? And start
Mhm.
by understanding that really, really well. And then you can build your marketing campaigns around that, and you can position your business to uniquely serve them in that market as well. So it really starts with understanding that audience first. And then from there, you build your marketing strategy to help serve them and meet their unique needs. And then you can generate content. You can put together other tactics that can help you consistently reach the audience and engage with them.
Awesome. So talking about sustaining a business, running a business, getting out to the audience, which are the like what channels drive and scale business growth the most?
Yeah, good question. So it definitely depends on the industry, and I'll talk specifically about the biotech and the AgTech market. And what I have seen in our industry, especially in the world that I am, I tend to do a lot more on a B2B, so business to business nature, than more so than on a B2C. So on the B2B front, there's a lot more activity happening on, more and more is moving to digital. First of all, I used to see when I was starting my career in marketing, a lot more was in trade media. And that still exists to this day, but there's a lot less that's happening in the printed world. A lot more is moving to digital. So when it comes to digital, um, email is a big one still on an ongoing basis. So email tends to be continuing to be important, and that I have not seen changed really very much in the last few years. If anything, the world is kind of reshaping itself and changing a little bit, and you might integrate some other platforms and channels to integrate with your email, but that's really about it. Email is still important. LinkedIn
Mhm.
is also important. LinkedIn seems to be growing in importance, and if anything. Some brands are doing really, really well on LinkedIn and are able to engage with a lot of leads, get a lot of leads from LinkedIn. Others are kind of struggling and trying to still figure out the world and how it's going to work for their business. But I have seen LinkedIn to be continuing of importance. A lot of companies too, especially nowadays, it's more and more important to have a website that can engage with your leads and be a good go-to when you link from other channels, for instance. So it's really important to make sure that your website is up to date, that it's user-friendly, that you're integrating, that you're thinking about the customer experience on your website and so on. So those are just a few key things that I would call out that are particularly relevant in the biotech and agtech worlds.
Correct. So, as you have been working in the biotech, agtech industry, let's consider I am starting out a company tomorrow, a biotech company. So, what marketing channel should I bet everything on? Like, is there any particular marketing channel which works for the biotech market, or is it a split between all the platforms available right now?
Yeah. So if you're starting tomorrow and you decide to just open up a brand new biotech business, first of all, that's really hard to do. But second of all, I would go back to let's figure out where our audience is first, because biotech, yes, does tend to be a mix between LinkedIn and email and to some degree some other social media platforms as well. But it really depends on that audience, and it might vary based on the unique value that you're providing in the biotech space. So start with that audience first. That said, I think there's a lot of untapped potential still out of LinkedIn. Now is a good time to get into LinkedIn because some brands are still not quite certain what they're doing with it. So if you have a unique way of providing value on that platform, now is a great time to get into it. I would do some other things alongside it. We talked about the risks of just being on social media. But that is a way that you can definitely stand out from the crowd. Because like I said, some brands are doing great with it, but others have quite a bit of work to really get up to speed and be able to use that platform to its full potential.
Okay, so let's consider a scenario wherein a biotech company has like you have been given a budget of let's say $10,000, and the biotech company expects a growth of 10x over a period of time, over a period of say 6 months or a year, like okay, $10,000, 3 months or 6 months. So what would be your first three moves? If the budget is less, we can consider $100,000. But yeah, basically, what will be the initial moves to get the biotech company growing?
Yeah, so depending on what the biotech company is doing, first of all, it very likely has an R&D budget. I will assume that is separate from
Let's
this.
assume, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
let's assume that it's separate. So let's say that
Hmm.
that is going on behind the scenes and that is going well the way it needs to and things are moving forward. That's entirely separate. So let's say we have a $10,000 marketing budget. Is that fair?
Yeah, yeah.
So what I would start first is I would want to first and foremost build at least a very basic website. And you can build a very simple website on your own, really for not very much. That would take a portion of that budget, but if you're really scrappy and you're using the right people to build that website, it really doesn't need to cost very much at all. You can definitely spend a lot on a website if you want. In this case, I would not do that. I would say, just build a really simple website to have
Right.
people have a really a landing page of sorts to go to understand more about your business and who you are. Then from there, I would build a LinkedIn channel. Social media is very easy to get started. You can build in just a page and you can start putting in some content. Honestly, you don't even need $10,000 to do all of that. If you started just that and then you built some sort of an emailer campaign for yourself, that really wouldn't even come close to costing $10,000. So that's where I would start. Is I would say start with a website, start with probably a LinkedIn page, depending on where your audience is at, and then start with some sort of an email and be ready to engage with those contents. There's also some really great lead generation software outside of LinkedIn, depending on who your audience is. I might consider something like that as well. SciLeads is one that comes to mind that I've used in the past. But honestly, you can do most of your lead generation and a lot of your lead nurturing, or get a lot of your leads into your email campaign at some point and then nurture those leads from there. So that's where I would start if you're really just starting from the ground floor with your marketing campaign. But I would also want to take a closer look at where is your audience at? What is the unique value you can provide in the market? And what are some of the different things that you can do to provide that value? With some of the AI tools as well that we had talked about, some of those things can be a great way to streamline your marketing efforts and really not cost a lot when it comes to content generation and putting together emails, for instance. AI tools can be really helpful with that. So those are just a few things that I would start with, but the best thing to do is to be honest about yourself, your situation, where you're starting, and figure out where is my audience, and then build campaigns around that channel.
In a perfect scenario, let's consider the business figures out where the audience is and is exactly following all the strategies you have just told us. So, how much time do you think will it take for it to substantially increase its revenue or sales or whatever we'll say, a metric, to 10 times whatever it's doing right now, to 10x of what it is doing using these marketing strategies, whatever we have been talking about?
Yeah, great question. So when it comes to marketing, you definitely have to give yourself some time to make sure that your messaging is resonating with that audience. And you don't know right away. I mean, there's some metrics that you can check to see if it's hitting home. For instance, on email, you would look at open rates and click-through rates and so on. So that those could be some pretty good indicators of whether or not something is resonating. Really, for effective marketing campaigns, I'd say generally you want to give it at least 3 to 6 months. Usually you need a solid 3 months at least to just kind of figure out if your message is resonating, if you need to change some certain things. I also really like to do A/B testing with
Mhm.
emails, for instance. It's a really nice way to just test out some different styles of subject lines you might have, of even some email copy and things like that. And as you really reflect on how the marketing campaigns you're running are performing, you can continue to hone in on your messaging and develop it further, adapt it to what is working or what isn't working. And really,
Mhm.
I'd say you need at least 3 months to make sure that that is working the way you need to. 6 months is more ideal. Then by then you can really hone in on that messaging and make sure that your message is consistently delivering on the value that you aim to provide.
Being said that, we also know that the market situation is evolving right now. It's constantly changing. And how do you, as a marketer in your agency as well, craft relevant marketing strategies in this environment, in this landscape?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the market, especially in the U.S., has been very volatile. There's a lot of uncertainty with the changes in the elections and so on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of question about what is ahead for us in the next year and the next few years, and how do you build campaigns and strategies to really be future proof in light of all of these potential changes and volatility. So a few things you can do. First of all, I like to build a really solid strategy in place, make sure that we are very clear about who our target audience is, why we're talking to them, who they are, even just simple demographic data and so on. So really get narrowed in on who that target audience is, and be so honed in on them that you understand what channels they go to, what kind of tools they use, and so on. And really being clear about that is going to help future proof your business. That's one key way to future proof your business. But another key way to future proof your business is to make sure that your marketing strategies are adaptable. And let me explain what I mean by that. So you
Yeah.
want to make sure that you're clear on that target audience, but you also want to be clear about the goals that you've set out for yourself. If your goals are to achieve XYZ revenue, are your marketing campaigns built to support that? Are they able to adapt if there is a change in the market? If, for instance, hopefully nothing happens on social media, but are you strictly just on social media, or are you also on email? Do you have kind of an exit strategy, or do you have an approach that you can use if something new happens in the market? Are you positioned to take advantage of an opportunity that might present itself to you in the marketplace? So those things are all essential. And that's something that we like to do with our marketing strategies, is to make sure that we're being really thoughtful about what is happening in the market. What are some of the market trends? What are some of the uncertainties? What are some of those opportunities too? And make sure that we're building those strategies to take advantage of those things, even as the market continues to shift. It's not easy. You do need to have an adaptable approach. And I highly recommend that you integrate some of these tools, like these AI tools that we've been talking about, in order to make sure that you are ready to adjust to those changes as they happen.
Awesome. So, like, as we know, you have been in the industry for long. Is there any example, any marketing advice or a successful campaign that that didn't cost that much, but the results were exponential over a period of time?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen some things happen. Everyone wants to go viral on social media,
Yeah,
right? That
yeah,
is one very simple example where I've seen a few brands that have this really great message that it might be silly and it might be simple, and then it just goes viral. Building something that goes viral is hard to do. You don't always know what is going to go viral, but that is one very simple example of something that I've seen that people do really well. But honestly, the brands, in my opinion, that do best are those that are really thoughtful, that are very diligent about putting solid marketing strategies in place and have a plan ready to make a pivot if they need to. I feel like COVID was one of those things that we kind of learned the hard way. And I will admit, I was one of those. When COVID hit, none of us were expecting it, first of all. But the marketing work I was doing at the time, I was frustrated about it. But in hindsight, it was a very good learning lesson for me. A lot of the marketing campaigns that I put in place at that time, all of a sudden, just overnight became irrelevant in a sense because of
right.
COVID. Because I could talk about family gatherings in April of 2020, but everyone is at home and they're stuck in their homes. So it wouldn't be relevant to have a campaign around a great picnic, you know? So that was a really good lesson, I think, for all of us, to be entirely honest, that our strategies have to be nimble. We have to be able to adapt our approaches to what is going on in the market. And that's where I've seen, honestly, companies falter is if they hold so strongly to marketing strategies that are just no longer working for them. You can't continue to be tone deaf in the market and expect to be able to get the revenue that you're seeking. It's just not going to work. So you have to have an adaptive and nimble approach, and AI can absolutely help you get there.
Awesome. So, is there any marketing advice, or is there any mistake that you see many biotech companies, AgTech companies doing right now, and you would suggest them to avoid it, or like enlighten them, have make sure that they don't make the same mistakes that they're doing over a period of time? Is there anything like that, or any suggestion that would basically help them in the business right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So something that I will say is marketing should be a two-way street. So as much as you're communicating with customers and sharing with customers what you can do, you should also be taking that information from customers. And this is where I've seen a number of brands falter, is that they get, especially in the Fortune 500 world to some degree, that they get so entrenched in who they are and what they do, and they're good at what they do. They're fantastic at it, but where they tend to struggle is when there's a change in the market, whether it's market demand or something like COVID happens, that they at times can really struggle to be able to adapt their approaches. Their messaging just appears tone deaf, as if they're not listening. And it really needs to be a two-way street. If you're going to have an effective marketing campaign and effective marketing strategy, you really do need to be understanding your audience well and listening to them and their needs, and be able to craft your messaging to answer to their calls and what they need. And if you're already an established business, you already have an audience that loves you, most likely. Otherwise, you wouldn't have gotten so entrenched and well involved in the market. You just
True.
need to be able to listen. And that is where there's a lot of opportunity as well. Listening to your customers and what they want and what is changing is really, really important when it comes to refining and crafting your marketing strategies and making sure that your marketing campaigns are continually meeting with those customer needs.
So, you work with a lot of Fortune 500 companies. What exact approach? Now, I'm asking on the other side of the thing right here. That what exact approach does an agency have to get a, let's say, Fortune 500 client, considering the work is good, they are uh, in the industry for long, they have a lot of knowledge, but then what is the exact thing one needs to do as a freelancer, as an individual, as an agency, to get Fortune 500 clients to work with them?
Yeah, good question. So, what you need to do is, and it's really simple, deliver value. Even better, uniquely deliver value. So, kind of getting into what we talked to before, where
Yeah.
can you as an individual deliver value to this company in this market? And what do you do? And I know it sounds oversimplified. To some degree, it is, but at the end of the day, businesses are just looking for results. They just want results. If you can deliver, if you can show that you can deliver, especially if you can consistently deliver, they want you to work with them because it's a win-win situation for them. It means that they're going to get the results that they're looking for you. You're going to get experience working with a large company. So that again, it's simple, but think about the unique ways that you can provide value to that business. I know that we start from, and I do this too. We start from, well, I want this. I want to work with you because of, it's me, me, me. And yes, those things are all true, but you have to shift your mindset to what does your customer want? What does that business want? What do they need? Is there something unique that you can provide that can help them reach that goal, whatever their goal is, sooner? And what is that? And figure out a way to openly share that, be open and honest about it, communicate well about it, and you are already on your way there.
Awesome. So, as we come to the end of this interview, Angela, I can't thank you enough for this incredible conversation today. You have a unique blend of experiences, I would rather say. Like you were in the you have started with biotech labs, and now we are talking about cutting edge technologies, like what are marketing technologies, what are AI tools we are using in the current age. So your insights have been, I know for a fact that it will be an very insightful, very valuable insights for our audience. And what makes this even more special is that you have shown that marketing is just not about uh, getting specific things right, but it's it's not just about following trends, or it's not just a single thing. It's about bringing the authenticity, and everything has to come together in the right way. So thank you for breaking down all the complex strategies and sharing your bold perspectives on where marketing is currently and where it's gonna head. Your approach to combining AI and ethical marketing practices is exactly what businesses need to hear right now. So, really appreciate you taking the time to share your expertise with our audience today. And yeah, thank you so much. And I would really love to talk in more details about the tools you are using right now for in your agency for the businesses. And yeah, definitely a precise talk about AI would be helpful.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Jay. It was great to have a conversation with you today. Appreciate being on your podcast episode.